I think when I was going home after the game, I did the drive of shame. And I started to have some emotions in my head, a mixture of emotions that I think we all feel when we get disappointed. And the first thing that was going through my head was regret. Can't believe I bought that ticket. What a waste of money. I even said to my brothers, I said, I might as well have just opened up the window and thrown that money out the window. And I was thinking to myself that when we make decisions, and Ted and I talked last week about decision fatigue, and when we make decisions, we often just determine whether those decisions were good or bad based on the results of the decisions. And my brother said to me in the moment, he said, but Mark, if you don't put yourself out there and you don't invest in the experience, you can't be guaranteed the results. And of course he's right. Of course he's right. But I'm still thinking in my head, what a waste of money. I'm still trying to get over that hump of knowing I made that investment. Then, in addition to feeling regret, now I'm getting mad. I'm mad at myself, but here's who I'm getting mad at. I'm getting mad at Tuukka Rask for letting in goals that he shouldn't have. I'm getting mad at the Bruins' first line for not playing up to their potential. I'm getting mad at lots of things. But luckily, as all these thoughts were going through my head, I realized that when we get disappointed, there's a tendency for humans to have to, want to, or need to assign blame. Right? So we're mad. We got let down. We get disappointed. So someone's got to pay. But what it was doing is it was really giving me some perspective to understand that the decision that I made to go to that game, the regret I was feeling, the disappointment I was feeling, the disappointment that Bruins fans woke up feeling last night and this morning, looking to complain, looking to vent about what went wrong. And look, you're listening to a guy today that on his wall in his home, I have a big picture of Vince Lombardi's famous quote, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Right? So that's who I am. I'm competitive. I want to win. I hate losing. But to throw an entire season away and say, we missed a golden opportunity. Yeah, maybe they did miss a golden opportunity, although I feel like Bruins fans very much underestimate St. Louis's skill level and overall talent. And so I guess the moral to this story and why I wanted to start out with the show today is, when we make decisions, and we're trying to identify whether it was the right or wrong decision, whether the outcome didn't meet our expectations is not the guideline. It's certainly not the sole guideline. It is a criteria, it is a factor in decision making. But ultimately what has to happen when you make a decision is you have to understand why you made the decision in the first place. And speaking from personal experience, I made the decision last night because it was an opportunity for me to spend time with my two brothers. It was an opportunity to share in what could have been an amazing memory. And I've been very fortunate to have a chance in my life to go to games like that. So I think the key is when you make the decision and understand, here are the criteria. Why are you motivated to make the decision? Would you do it again? If you had if there was a game 7 next year, would I say, well, no, I remember what happened last year, so I'm not going to repeat that risk. And that's the key word here, everybody, is the word risk. Because every decision you make is fraught with risk. And so I think it's really important to understand that would you repeat the same action again? What risks are associated? And a famous expression that we all have used either internally or externally at one time or another, or if we haven't used it, we've been asked it, and that is, and I've spoken about this on the radio show before, what's the best and worst thing that can happen? But the problem with that phrase, and when I do trainings for corporations, I bring this up. The problem with the phrase is people don't do the next step of the phrase. They just do the first step. So the first step is posing the question. But most people pose it, but they don't actually answer it. They just actually go through that motion. And so when I make that investment financially in this specific situation, I create a special memory, I have quality time with my brothers. I get to root for one of the 4 Boston teams that I adore. I get to participate in a fan experience unlike no other. I mean, there's so many positives. So if you sat and actually wrote down on a piece of paper and said, and did a pro and con list and said, okay, if I was making this decision all over again, here's all the wins and here's the potential loss, then yeah, I probably would do it again. So I just feel like we talk about decisions, we talk about being guided by outcomes. We really have to understand the net positives versus the worst possible negative and really be able to critically think what makes the most sense.